So last class I told you that from Monday we will start a new topic, that is wave optics. Okay, let us quickly see what are the topics that is included in wave optics. Okay, so I hope my voice is clear and this PPT is also clear. No? So just type once yes if everything is clear so that we will move ahead. Okay. So see, first of all, we will discuss the syllabus of wave optics. It is started from the electromagnetic wave theory of light. After that, we will discuss what is wavefront. Wavefront, Huygens defines a principle that is called wavefront principle that we will discuss in the Huygens principle. After that, reflection of light based on Huygens principle. What we know that light is following reflection of light, refraction of light, but that laws are discussed on the principle that light is behaving like a particle. But this time we will take light as a wave. After that, we will see different type of coherent sources, and then finally we will discuss interference as well as interference as well as diffraction, and then we will see what is YDSE, that is Young's double slit experiment, and at the last we will see colors in the thin flames. Okay, so starting from the electromagnetic wave. So basically, electromagnetic wave is oscillation of electric and magnetic field. Okay, from the diagram you can see the electric field is represented by the red colored line and magnetic field is represented by blue colored line. Okay, if I diagrammatically represent this system, you can see that one wave is present in xy plane. This is the electric field. This is my E naught. But the second wave that we have, this B or E naught, it is present in Z and X axis. It is not present in Y axis. So you can see this type of curve we will get. Okay. So actually, this field lines are basically perpendicular to each other. Okay, this diagram is better for you. You can take, but let us see that when electric oscillations, these are electric oscillations and these are magnetic oscillations. When they combine, so this is called your light. So light is nothing but electromagnetic wave. Okay, basically we will deal that thing also. So basically variation in both electric field and magnetic field occurs simultaneously. Therefore, they attain maxima and minima at same place and at same time. The direction of electric field and electric field are mutually perpendicular to each other as well as to the direction of propagation of wave. Okay, and we know with what speed this electric field and magnetic field will oscillate. So obviously, speed of light. So speed of electromagnetic wave depends entirely on the electric and magnetic field. If you remember in your previous class, we got this type of relation, and the relation says C is equal to 1 by under root of epsilon naught and mu naught, where this is related to electric field and this is related to magnetic field, B naught and E naught. Okay, so this is the very important relationship. You should remember this one. Okay, let me write here. C is equal to 1 by under root mu naught and epsilon naught. Okay, where C is the speed of light and epsilon is the permeability and mu naught is the permittivity of the free space. So basically, speed of light entirely dependent on the electric and magnetic properties of the medium. Okay, that is why if medium is changing, like we have discussed refraction, what refraction says that when a light is coming from one medium to another medium, basically its speed decreases in the medium, or you can see it will bend towards the normal or away from the normal. It will depend upon the electric and magnetic oscillations of the electric field in which wave travels and not go and not on amplitude of their vibration. Okay, so this is the thing you should keep it in your mind about the light. So we say wave is propagating along x-axis with a speed c is equal to 1 by under root mu naught into epsilon naught. For discussion of optical property of electromagnetic wave, more significance is to given to electric field E. Therefore, electric field is called light vector. Is it clear? Is it clear, guys? Tell me. Response me, everyone. Is it clear to you? Okay. Ravi said, I don't get point three. Can you repeat? Yeah, I can repeat. No problem with that. So number three says the speed of light. See, basically, speed of light is this one. So speed of electromagnetic wave depends entirely on the electric and magnetic properties of the medium. Okay, it means as we know that light travels fastest in vacuum, and the value of c that we got, it is equal to 3 into 10 to the power 8 meter per second. But when we calculate the speed of light in glass, we have seen that in glass speed of light becomes 2 into 10 to the power 8 meter per second. It means in which property this speed of light is dependent. Okay, so in which property this, could you explain the second point as well? Yeah, wait, one by one you should ask. So speed of light in glass is 2 into 10 to the power 8 meters per second. It means when we are changing the medium, okay, actually light get affected, its speed affected. So in which property the speed of light depends? So that is written here. It is entirely depend on the electric and magnetic properties of the medium. It means if you provide a medium in such a way that the electric and magnetic properties of the medium is highly effective, then speed of light is also very, very high. Okay. So, and in which wave travels? Okay. So, in which wave travels? So, you can say speed of light depends entirely on the electric and magnetic field in which wave travels, and not on the amplitude of their vibration. Amplitude means this E naught and V naught. It means speed of light does not dependent on these values E naught and V naught, okay, of their vibration. So basically, the speed of light is only dependent on the electric and magnetic properties of the medium in which it is flowing. So from this equation, you can also understand that what they want to say is that electric field, its speed is given by 1 by under root of mu naught into epsilon naught. So basically, mu naught is, if you remember, the magnetic field is equal to mu naught by 4 pi and I dl sine theta divided by r square. This is called Biot-Savart law. Okay, and our from Coulomb's law, you can say electric field is equal to given by 1 by 4 pi epsilon naught and q1. Sorry, this is force. So q1 q2 by r square. It means this mu naught is related to electric field and this epsilon, sorry, this epsilon naught is related to electric property or electric field, and this mu naught is related to magnetic or magnetic properties. That is why this speed of light is dependent on the material medium, okay, of magnetic and electric properties. This is the third point. Now, second point says the direction of the electric field and magnetic field. So let me show you one practical example. Suppose this is the plane of magnetic field. Okay. So magnetic field is this one. This is the plane for magnetic field. So electric field will be present in such a way that they will be perpendicular to each other. Okay, so you can say this is the plane for electric field. You are getting, it means electric field will travel like this. This is the direction of electric field, and magnetic field will travel along this plane. Okay, can you see this plane? So this is perpendicular to each other. That is written here that the direction of electric and magnetic field are mutually perpendicular. If you take your finger also like this, so this is one axis. Suppose that one electric field is going like this, okay, and your magnetic field is going like this, okay. So both will be perpendicular to each other. As well as you see, one electric field is present in XY plane and one magnetic field is present in ZX plane. But when they are moving, actually they are moving along X axis. It means that basically light is moving like this. So they are actually propagating or direction of propagation of wave. Okay, this variation will vary along the direction of propagation of wave. Okay, is it clear now? Tell me. Response me, guys. Is it clear? Or again, I have to repeat. Okay. So this is the basic fundamental thing regarding your electromagnetic wave. Okay. Now let us see. So you can say for discussion of optical theory of electromagnetic wave, for more significance is given to the electric field. Okay, means out of electric field and magnetic field, more significance we will give to the electric field. Therefore, electric field is called the light vector. Please mark this point, everyone, that electric field is given more significance. And that is why electric field is called your light vector. Basically, magnetic field is also present, but the strength of magnetic field is not so very high, because we know that we are living in Earth, and our Earth is also having its North Pole and South Pole. So if suppose from North Pole magnetic field is coming and it is going towards the South Pole, like this type of field is originated in our Earth. So if the intensity of the magnetic field is very high for light, so that will be not suitable for its propagation. That is why the intensity, or you can say more significance, is given to the electric field. Okay. So next we will see about the wave front. So first of all, let us see the definition of wave front, guys. So basically, a wave front is the point of disturbation due to propagation of light. What I mean to say here, that suppose if we take any source of light, suppose a point source of light like this. So from this point source of light, the ray will emit like this. Wait, let me do one thing first. So basically, ray of light, if this is source, okay, source of light, or you can say the first one is your point source, point source. So for point source, ray of light will emit like this, like this, like this. It means from point source, from all the directions light will emit. From point source, all the ray of light will emit. So basically, I am not drawing each and every ray of light. Okay, you have to imagine little. Like if you think about the point source, you can assume that the ray of light will form a sphere. Okay, in the solid sphere, the ray of light is propagating. For what? For point source. Now again see the definition. So a wavefront is the point of distribution Wait a second. Okay. So a wavefront is the point of disturbance due to the propagation of light. Now see. So for point object, I told you that ray of light is coming like a sphere like this. Okay. So for different source of light, we will get different wavefront. Okay. So for point source of light, you can see the wavefront that we will get. It is a sphere. Okay. This is the wavefront we will get. Okay. For point point source. Similarly, suppose if we have a line source of light, line source, suppose we have a straight line like this. So this line will directly emit light like this from this side also, from this side also it will emit. So actually, when you see this line source of light, you will observe that ray of light is traveling like a solid cylinder. Okay, let me draw the diagram first, then you will understand. So it will flow like a solid cylinder. Okay, like this. So for line source of light, the wavefront will be cylindrical, or you can say solid cylindrical. Okay, so like this way wave is traveling, or you can say this is the wavefront. Wavefront basically means the formation of wave, or you can say movement of the wave. Okay, so these many kinds of wavefront we have to study. Now let us discuss it in more depth. So you can say wavefront is the locus, or you can say locus means when you try to draw one geometrical shape. Suppose this is a circular part, so you have to fix one point, and other point can travel along this curve only. Okay, that is the meaning of locus. Like locus of a circle, if it is written, so you have to draw a circle and a point you have to show, and this point P can only move along this circular path only. So you can say point P is having a locus of a circle. It means point P can only move in the circular path. Therefore, a wavefront is the locus of points, that is wavelets, having same phase of oscillation. Having same phase of oscillation means, let us let us complete the definition first. So a line perpendicular to the wavefront is called a ray. Okay, basic definitions we have to know. Now you can see this is a point source, and from this point source a ray of light is coming out from the source. So joining all the points, you can see dot 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 points. So this dot dot points will make a sphere. So in this form wave is propagating. So you can say for point object the wavefront is spherical. Okay, so a spherical wavefront from a point source. Similarly, for line source, you see this type of wavefront we will get, and this is called a cylindrical wavefront from a line source. Similarly, for plane wavefront, we get this type of structure, or you can say when a light is coming directly, so it will form a plane. Getting, if a light is coming directly like this, so actually it will form a plane like this. So this will form a plane wavefront. Okay, so pink dots are wavelets. Okay, basically this point source of light are called wavelets, and blue envelope is called your wavefront. That is this solid line. This is called wavefront. Okay, and this red colored line is your ray of light. Okay, so please note this diagram, everyone, and when you are done with the diagram, just text me in the chat box so that I can go to the next page. So please try to write and draw these diagrams and write those things. And even if you have any doubt in anything, you can ask me. I can repeat this again. Okay, once you are done with this, please text me in the chat box. Done? Is there any doubt, anyone? Have you written? Have you written, guys? Okay. So I hope everyone written. Okay, I'm going to the next page now. See, even if you lose something, you can go to the YouTube video and just stop the video and you can write and see the things. Okay, just I'm moving now. So next thing we will discuss is Huygens principle. To understand Huygens principle, we have to know what is wavefront and what is wavelet and what is ray of light. That we will discuss just now. So wave construction, or you can say Huygens construction or principle of secondary wavelets, we will discuss now. As you can see, this S is our one point source. So we know that this point source will produce ray of light. Along this ray, I have shown here 3 rays like this way from every direction. You can say a ray of light is coming from the source. Okay, so as you can see that these rays are coming from a source. So this dotted point you can see. So this dotted point, red points or dots is called your secondary wavelets or secondary forms. So from here also a wave is illuminated or a wave is coming from this source also. Okay, this is behaving like another wavelet, and from this also wave is coming like a sphere, because I told you that a point source will produce which kind of wavelet. So a point source will produce spherical wavelets. Whose video is on, please turn it off. So uh, you can see that one source of light is producing dot dot type of secondary wavelets, and this dot dot secondary wavelets again form the initial wavelength, because we know that point source will emit spherical wavelets. So one sphere will gives another sphere formation. So you can say if this is our source, so this source will produce one sphere like this. Okay, so again, this spheres, this dotted points also will produce one spherical wavelets like this. Again, this sphere also produce secondary wavelets like this. So similarly, the total propagation of ray of light will propagate like this only. It is propagating like this. You can see from the diagram. Okay, this is called new wavefront, which is also spherical in nature. Okay, for line source of light also you can see that this type of new wavelength will form, and it is called a plane wavelet. Okay, here also I have written that wavelets, that is red dots on the wavefront. Okay, red dots, as I told you in the previous diagram also, that these dots are called wavefront because it is in the front, and again it will produce a wavelet, its own wavelet. So point source will produce which kind of wavelet? The spherical wavelet. Okay, so this is just one basic understanding. Okay, now what is Huygens principle? So starting from this, number 1, each point on the wavefront acts as a fresh source of disturbance of light. This is the first principle given by Huygens. Second, the new wavefront at any time later it is obtained by taking the forward envelope of all the secondary wavelets at that time. Okay, these are the very two important Huygens principle, and from these two statements we are going to prove the reflection of light, refraction of light, Snell's law, and many more. But basically in the syllabus, reflection and refraction is there. So note one point you have to note that backward wavefront is rejected. Okay, can you tell me why? Because the amplitude of the secondary wavelet is proportional to half of 1 plus cos theta. Obviously, for the backward wavelet, theta will be 180 degree, and when you put 180 degree in this equation, so we know cos 180 degree is equal to -1. So minus and plus, it will be 0. So that backward wavefront is rejected because amplitude of that one is equal to 0. Okay, given by this equation, half 1 plus cos theta, and cos 180 degree is equal to -1. So putting the value here, this term will be 0. So that is why it is rejected. Okay, so write this point everyone, so that, and text me in the chat box so that we will move forward. Okay, so please write it in the chat box. Is it done or not? Okay. When you are done with this page, please write it in the chat box. Okay, so that we can move in the next page. Have you written, guys? Yeah, if you want to ask something, then you can write it in the chat box. If you have any kind of doubt, you can write it in the chat box, guys. Is it done? This page is done. Yes, tell me, please. Okay. Now see, after understanding the very important theorem or principle, yeah, I can explain again. You see, first, let us see this PPT one more time so that from the beginning we can understand this thing. Okay. Okay. Suppose this is one source of light. Okay, source of light. So just now I told you know that this source of light will produce a spherical wavelet like this. Okay, so Huygens says that each secondary wavelet is behaving like a primary wavelet, and from each primary wavelet again a spherical wavelet will form. So we know that from point source, which kind of wavelet will emit? So spherical. So that is the principle of Huygens. Okay, basic one, fundamental one, but very important. Okay, so you can see that this source of light can be eliminated or can be coming like this, and this will produce various secondary wavelets, and from this secondary wavelets also some wave fronts will come. Okay, so when you join this, you will get new wave front. Okay, and in this manner, light is propagated. So this is for point source and this is for line source. Okay, so first point says each point on the wavefront acts as a fresh source of distribution or disturbance of light. Okay, each point on the wavefront is behaving like a what happened? Type it in English. Each point on a wavefront acts as a fresh source of disturbance of light. Second, the new wavefront at any time later is obtained by taking the forward envelope of any secondary wavelet at that time. So you can say any new secondary wavelet that we will form, again it will form its own wave or own wavelength or wavefront. and that is called the new wavefront, which is also spherical in nature. Because we know that for a point source, the wavelet it will form, it is like a spherical one. Okay, and this thing I explained just now, that amplitude is given as half of 1 plus cos theta. So cos theta is 180, 180 is 0. Is it clear? Is it clear now? Can I go to the next page now? Now please respond quickly. Okay, thank you. Okay. Next, we will try to prove these laws of reflection on the basis of Huygens principle. Okay, actually, we know what is law of reflection of light, what is law of refraction of light. We know both the laws, but on the basis of Huygens principle, now we will discuss. So let us suppose this is one plane mirror. XY is our one plane mirror. So when ray of light will fall on the surface, actually it will form each point, the angle of incidence and angle of reflection both will be same. That is, if you draw a perpendicular line, that is AB, which is the shortest distance between these two ray of light, and if you make one arc taking this point A as center and this AB as our arc, again making perpendicular to this side and again making a one arc, forming these two normals at the point. So this basically we are doing with the help of geometry. You can just draw the diagram and write these things. So this angle we call it angle of incidence, and this angle we call again angle of incidence, because by the triangle property law, okay, this complete angle is 180 degree. Okay, if this angle is I, if this angle is I, and we know that this complete angle is 90 degree. Okay, this angle will be, if suppose R. Okay, and in this triangle, if you consider this triangle, by geometry you can see this angle and this angle will be same. Okay, by geometry. And after that, for this also, suppose this angle is angle of reflection, so this angle again becomes angle of reflection from geometry. Giving the name to this surfaces, point B, D, A, C. Okay, AB is your incident wavefront. What is AB? So this is AB, the green colored line, and CD is your reflected wavefront. Okay, and XY is the reflecting surface. So from if C is the speed of light and T is the time taken by light to go from B to C. Okay, let us take this point, that is from point B to point C, it will take time T. Okay, from B to C, or A to D, A to D, it will take time T. Okay, this also A to D, it will take time T. Let us suppose. So, or you can say E to G also through F. So E to G, this point is our E, and this point our G. So E to G again, same time it will take, time T. Okay. So you can say time is equal to what? We know that speed is equal to distance by time. So time we can write distance divided by speed. So for this time, this BC time T, we have taken time T. So time T we can write BC divided by speed of light, because it is nothing but light that is written here. In place of BC, you can write EF also, which is equal to EF, this distance. Okay, because these two are almost same. Similarly, we can write Fg by C. What is Fg? So you can see here, this is F and this is G. This distance and this distance are also similar. So you can write finally that time is equal to EF by C plus Fg by C, total time. Okay. After that, in place of Fg from geometry, we can write AF sine I. How? So if we consider AF, here is AF, this is our AF, okay, and this distance we have written. So if you consider this triangle, okay, so let me draw here. This angle is I, okay, this is our AF, and this is our EF. So in place of EF, Can we write what is sine I? If we write sine I is equal to perpendicular, that is EF, divided by hypotenuse, which is AF. So we can easily write that EF is equal to AF sine I. Okay, this is nothing but simple geometrical analysis. Okay, so please try to understand the geometry here. Again, same we will do for FG also. In place of FG, we will write FC sine R divided by C. So taking C common, this we can write AF. So AF we can write AC. AC, this one, because this AF plus FC, you see, this AF plus FC will be equal to AC sine R, because in this triangle you see this angle is I, this angle is R. So we can relate these two angles in terms of AF. So taking AF common again from the geometry, we can write sine I minus sine R. That is, for rays of light from different parts of the incident wavefront, the values of AF are different. Okay, but light from the point of the incident wavefront so take the same time to reach from the corresponding point on the reflected wave. It means in order to reach this source of light, if we consider this source of light, so you see this source of light will traveling this much time. Again, this source of light will travel. See, if we again draw a parallel line, so this much time, this extra time is required for this one. And for this point source of light, again, this is the normal. So this much of extra time is required. That is written here, that in order to travel this much distance, the light should have same time to reach the corresponding point on the reflected wavefront. Okay, from the geometry also it can be very easily seen. Okay, and after that, the next point we will discuss is that so T should not depend on AF. This is possible only if this term will be equal to 0. That is, sine I is equal to sine R. And we know that when theta is very small, in place of I, we can write, sorry, in place of sine I, we can write I is equal to R. Okay, so just write it, everyone. This is simple geometrical analysis by using Huygens principle. Okay, so once you are done with this, you can text me in the chat box. Till then, till this, if you have any kind of doubt or you want me to repeat this, you can tell me again so that we can repeat and we will understand the concept in more clear way. Okay, so quickly write these points, everyone. This is just a concept of some mathematical basic geometrical analysis. Okay, of triangle and trigonometry. Okay, basically, time should not dependent on AF. That is the thing we will say here. That time does not depend on AF, and when it is not dependent on AF, so the inside term sin I minus sin R, that will be equal to 0. Everything is written in the screen. Okay, so just write it in your copy and text me in the chat box. Everyone, do it fast. Once you are done with this, please tell me once. Finish. Okay. Everyone, text me once. Is it okay with you? Okay. So next we will see. First we have seen reflection, right? Second we will see refraction. Okay. Second we will see refraction. Can anyone in the group can tell me what is refraction? Anyone? Text me in the chat box. Can anyone can tell me what is refraction? Anyone? Bending of light. Excellent. So bending of light when? Bending of light from reflection. So if the question is of 4 mark, no, you will get 1.5 mark. The bending of light from reflection. The thing here you should understand that if we have two mediums, suppose the second medium is water, this medium is water. So basically what is refraction? So when a ray of light fall on this surface, okay, basically this is the original path of the light, but this is not remains the same path when it enters the different medium. What we will have to do, we have to make one normal first, and this angle is called angle of incidence. And as we know, this is water, and water is having refractive index of 1.33. Therefore it is a denser medium with respect to air, which is having refractive index 1. So obviously it will bend, uh, towards the normal. That is, this is our normal and this is the original light. So ray of light will bend like this, and this is called your angle of refraction. So Snell's law says that sine mu multiplied by sine of the angle made by the normal, that is mu air multiplied by sine I, will be equal to mu w into sine r. Okay, this is called your Snell's law. It means basically when a ray of light will travel, or when it changes its medium of propagation, it will bend away from the normal or it will bend towards the normal. That will depend upon the optical character of the medium, whether it is optical denser or optically rarer. Okay, so that is called refraction. Now, what Huygens says about, so Huygens said the same thing, but he explained in the wave manner. You can say this incident ray of light is falling on this surface having refractive index mu2, and the rarer medium is having refractive index mu1. So mu1, we suppose that light is traveling with speed c, and in denser medium it is traveling with velocity v. Okay, after that again we will make one perpendicular line and we will make one arc, and then again joining this last end point, making the normal, we can say this angle is our angle of incidence, and again this angle is called angle of incidence. Okay, so let me tell you this time how it is coming. So you see that this side or this triangle, see, let us first extend this ray of light. Okay, suppose this is the normal ray, no? Suppose this is the normal ray at this point, and this is the normal ray this point. This is the original point. So if this angle is I, so we can say this angle is also I. So this angle we don't know, we can say this angle is 90 minus I. But again, when you observe this angle, okay, so this angle complete will be 90 degree. And in order to make this complete angle 90 degree, this angle has to be I. Okay, let me explain here. Suppose this is the incident ray of light and this is the normal point, and from the normal, suppose this is the perpendicular line and this is our horizontal line. At this point, this is the horizontal line. So when we extend this ray of light here, this is our angle of incidence. Okay, so if this is our angle of incidence, so this will also become angle of incidence. So this angle will become 90 minus I, very easy, because this complete angle is 90 degree. Similarly, this angle, this complete angle will be 90 degree. Okay, that is why this angle will become I. Then only when you add this two angle, complete angle will be 90 degree. That is why here we have taken I. Okay, so now I hope you understand this point. Basically, these are all related to basic geometry. Okay, and again, see this side we have taken this as angle of refraction, and this particular ray of light is given different names. So c is the speed of light and t is the time taken by the light from B to C. Okay, that means this much of extra distance we have to cover in time t, which is also equal to A to D, or which is also equal to E to G. Okay, E to G through F. Therefore, again we can write time is equal to distance by speed of light. Distance for the first case it is EF, and speed in the first medium it is C. Again in the second medium distance is FG and distance velocity is V. So from the trigonometric analysis we can replace EF and FG and we can write T is equal to this one, and then again replacing the value you can get this relation. Okay, and finally we will write that for rays of light from different parts of the incident wave front, the values of AF are different, but light from different point of the incident wave front should take the same time to reach the corresponding points on the refracted wave front. That is why T should not depend on AF again, and this quantity will be equal to 0. When you put this equal to 0, we get mu sin I by sin R is equal to speed of light in air divided by speed of light in medium, which is nothing but the refractive index of the medium. Okay, so basically this will explains you the Snell's law. Snell's law, which is also called second law of refraction, which is also called second law of refraction. So this is basically the total understanding of law of refraction by using Huygens principle. Okay guys, so please write this point in your notebook, and once you are done with this page, please text me in the chat box. Okay, please write this quickly. Write it first and text me in the chat box, guys. Please do it fast. Remaining 10 minutes we have to cover one more topic now. So write this fast. Basically, in exam, you will get a question like this, that you will get a question like define what is a wave front and wavelet. Second, you will get what is Huygens principle and explain law of refraction by using Huygens principle. Okay, so this total part you have to write and draw. Okay, short and straightforward answer. No need to write the history. Okay, this is the exact answer you can write. Okay, so tell me guys, is it finished? Tell me fast. Okay. I think Almina, you are very quick maybe. So let me wait for some new few. Okay. Okay. Kiran is also writing. Very good. So next, we will discuss. Let me erase this. So next thing we will discuss is about the behavior of wavefront in concave mirror, convex mirror, concave lens, and convex lens as well as prism. Okay, you can see this is which kind of mirror, guys? Can you text me in the chat box? This is which kind of mirror? Any one of you? Wave optics part one. Yeah, exactly. This is concave mirror. So when a ray of light will fall on the surface of the concave mirror, we know that focal length of the concave mirror is negative always. It means they will form a intersection like this. So you can see this is nothing but wavelets and they are forming like part of the sphere. Similarly, for concave mirror also, they are the like part of the sphere. They are propagating like this. For convex lens, you see the wave front will look like this, and for concave lens, the wave front can be seen like this. So AB is called your incident wave front, and CD is called your refracted or reflected wave front. Okay, so this is the behavior of plane wave front in case of concave mirror, convex lens, concave lens, and we will discuss the prism also. So quickly draw this diagram, guys, with pencil. Okay, and quickly tell me yes or no. Done. Okay, I think you are too quick. Let me wait for some more 1-2 minutes so that others also can draw. How you can draw the diagram so quickly? Have you drawn? Seriously? Okay, guys, response me fast now. Have you drawn? Not done, sir. Okay. Now I hope everyone is done with the diagrams. See, only my class is not enough for the understanding because these things, for me, I am reading these things from 10-20 years. Okay, not 20, but at least 7 years. But for you, this is the first time you are reading these concepts. So before coming to the class, I suggest you to read the topics in your home. Okay, at least follow your NCERT book. Then only you can see the concept with more ease. Okay, actually the videos are also uploaded in the YouTube also, so you can take the help from YouTube also. Okay, so try to read the books also. Okay, only class is not enough to understand the things with 100% accuracy. If you remember when we are learning measurement, I told you that with every measurement there is some error associated with it. So you can say in learning also there may be some errors associated with that. So you have to minimize the errors. And how you will minimize the errors? By reading 2, 3, 4 as many times as you can. Okay, reading as well as following the lectures. Okay, now is it done, guys? Can I go to the next page now? Okay, so the next last thing we will discuss is it is called uh, prism. Okay, so you draw the last part also, that how incident wavefront and refracted wavefront will look like. Okay, and we are just stopping here. Okay, from next class we will move ahead this wave optics part. Okay, so try to draw this diagram.